Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another Clan Community League battle. We're gonna go to Division A, the top division of this league, and we're gonna have four extremely interesting matchups because we're facing off two of the best Rome Total War players out there at the moment. We got Moussolini from the SoA clan and Zeke from the HoS clan. They'll be going at each other four times. We actually have the four replays courtesy of Moussolini though, so thank you very much for that. We're gonna see the first matchup, which is Greece versus Pontus. Pretty interesting matchup. And it really doesn't get better than this. These two players have a history of rivalry that dates from quite some time back, so every time they play each other, it's always exciting, because, especially in a tournament, if they're just friendly games, it's just like, whatever. But if you're playing tournament games and it's Moussolini and Zeke, you definitely want to watch those games, because sometimes there's just more than a win that's at stake. So enough of that. Let's look at the armies. We got 6 armored hoplites, gold, loose formation for Greece. We got 4 regular archers, gold. We got 2 Cretans with 2 upgrades, and we got 2 Rhodian slingers with 3 upgrades. Attack upgrades, most likely. There's a peasant unit right there. I'll explain the use of peasants in this battles in case you might be wondering. Then we also have a Spartan unit with 3 upgrades. The general's right there in the back. And then 4 militia cav, just Jav cav with 5 upgrades. Let's look at Zeke's army. We have 2 chariot archers, gold attack. We have 4 Pontic light cav, which is also Jav cav. Those ones are gold. We have a scythe chariot in the back, and we actually have a heavy cavalry unit. We got some Cappadocians, 1 unit of Cappadocians, 5 upgrades, 6 archers, gold, and 6 bronze shields, 4 upgrades. The general right there in the middle. So this matchup is quite interesting, quite interesting, because this matchup is one of those that takes forever, and actually it is true. If you look up here, this is by far the longest battle we've had in the replays so far. It's almost 4 million of those little numbers. So this is going to take a while, so I'm going to triple speed at sometimes. Like I was saying, this peasant unit, you might be wondering, why bring a damn peasant? You could use those for extra upgrades. Well, actually a peasant unit is quite useful. In this case of in this kind of battles, the peasant's going to serve 2 purposes. The first one is to soak up missiles. Just if your opponent leaves his units in fire at will mode and they're in range of the peasants, they're going to start shooting at them and therefore wasting ammunition on them, which is something valuable. That just gives you a small advantage, and you want every advantage you can get, no matter how small it is. So that's one thing, just basically here as fodder, meat fodder, just to soak up the enemy missiles. But then they also serve another purpose, which requires a little bit of more micro, but it does serve well. If you notice, this skirmish units, most of the time what people would do is have them in skirmish mode. Because that skirmish mode gets stupid at times, especially when they get close to the red line, like they just keep running at the red line. But it's useful in open ground like this. Very useful, actually. It sometimes glitches, but overall it does a decent job. So anyways, what happens is that if the opponent is trying to shoot your units with a unit that is in skirmish mode, well, what's going to happen is that as soon as it gets close to the peasants, that unit is actually going to fall back. It's going to retreat because of skirmish mode. So unless you're using them manually, unless you're commanding your units manually, these peasants are going to keep them off range of your units. That's what the peasants are used for. In this case, that's their second use. I must say this is a harder use for the peasants. It's a little bit harder to use them in that way, because you have to micro them so they don't just get charged to death. Eventually they will, and they'll break very easily. But it might serve a purpose. So for 100 denarii, it's well worth it. Definitely well worth it. So Moussolini's sending his 4 Jav cav at Zeke's Cappadocians. They're probably not going to do a lot of damage, but what you want out of this unit is to tire it. You definitely want to tire it. This unit is here basically to help in the infantry fight. As a Cappadocian, I don't think there's too much it can do against pikes. It's not like cataphracts, where you can actually charge cataphracts at pikes and actually let them fight in the melee and probably beat them. There's only probably a couple units that would stand cataphracts in a melee fight, even if they're pike units. But Cappadocians don't have that armor-piercing ability, so they will not do as well. So they're just here basically for support in the infantry fight, and also to keep at bay enemy cav, or guard the rear, if anything. So anyways, moving on, another note here. You notice this kind of terrain. Grassy Flatlands, which is this map, and which is used in pretty much every tournament, is considered to be the fairest map because there are no hills, so you get like no terrain advantages at all. No hills, no forest, no nothing. The only thing to notice about this map is the swamp. You know, these little patches, these rough patches you see. And actually these patches slow down units. They slow down chariots, they slow down cavalry, they slow down everything. So, if you're up against a skirmish force, such as Pontus, well, what you want to do is what Moussolini is doing, exactly. Keep them on the swamp. That way, they'll be slowed down. You probably can't see it right now. I mean, you can't note the difference. It's not like they become super slow, but they do get slowed down a little bit. Why is that important? Well, for two reasons. First of all, when you slow these units down, eventually what's going to happen is that if they go, say, in Cantabrian circle, they'll still be going around in circles, but they'll be doing it at slower pace. That means you get a better shot with your either archers or slingers, such as the ones Moussolini brought. So that's a bonus. You do slow them down. And the other thing is, if you're trying to chase them, you'll catch them easier. So definitely always try to keep the enemy units on this swamp. The downside to it, I would say, is that units can't hide in this swamp. You can actually hide units here. But, you know, if you're a good player, you remember there are hidden units. And if you don't want to remember, well, just look at the minimap. You don't have the minimap here at the replay screen, but always keep an eye on your minimap. That's just a micro tip that every strategy game player should know. Use the damn freaking minimap. That way you'll see when the unit spawns and you'll be able to react to it. So anyways, those are some comments on the terrain. Now let's look at the armies. Moussolini brought 2 slingers, Rhodian slingers, and that's probably, I would say, the best unit in the game to counter skirmish such as chariot archers or horse archers, for that matter. Why? Because, let me explain this to you very quickly. Archers fire in a kind of a rainbow trajectory, so the arrows go like this in a kind of, yeah, I guess that's the name for it, an arc, basically. They fire in an arc, in a rainbow trajectory. Slingers do not. Slingers fire in a straight line, completely horizontal. I mean, of course, there's some curve to it, but mostly horizontally. So that means they can hit units much easily than Cretans can. Because if you don't hit the unit in the front, you hit the unit in the back. With archers, if you don't hit the unit at the front, you hit the ground. If they're in loose formation, of course, if they're close and tight, chances are you're going to hit something. But in this case, when chariot archers are always spread out like this, and if they're in Cantabrian circle when they're running and there's like nothing behind them, you definitely want to use slingers. And you probably, if you haven't tried them, definitely try it. You'll be amazed at how effective slingers are at taking out chariot archers and horse archers. In Cantabrian circle or not, they'll just rape these units. So when using skirmish against these units, you have to be very careful. Very careful, because they can eat it up in a matter of seconds. That's why we're seeing Zeke playing a little bit conservatively. If these units weren't here, you bet he'll be shooting the shit out of Moussolini right now. But he's got to be very careful with his slingers. On another note, look at the formation of the archers. Zeke is able to spread out the formation like this, as long as thin as possible. This is 2 ranks deep. That's the thinnest formation the game allows. And this is the best formation for getting into archer fights. Because, like I said, if you don't hit the unit in the front, well, you only have 1 chance of hitting something in the back, and then there's nothing. If you keep a square like Moussolini does, then you probably if you don't hit the first line, you probably hit the second, third, fourth, or fifth. So your chances are higher. So you definitely want to spread out your line. Now, it's not like Moussolini doesn't know this, but he cannot quite do it because his infantry line is not long enough to cover what the length of the archers would be if he spread them out like that. It would probably go all the way over here, and he would either have to use his cavalry to defend them, which would kind of pin them to the archers, and they will be threatened by this Cappadocians, which could probably kill them in one single charge, because they have a 9 charge bonus. So that's why Mussolini's not able to do that, and that's why Zeke gets some archer advantage, just because of the formation. So here we're going to see some militia cavalry strikes from Moussolini. And actually Zeke didn't have this unit in skirmish mode, so he actually gets a charge. There go 12 men, 12 archers died there. He didn't make the unit route, because, you know, it's militia cav, they're not very powerful. But now Zeke is going to repay the favor, and there it goes, another charge. Well, actually the first charge from Mussolini's right flank against the archers, and he actually makes it route. That's what I was just saying. This unit has a 9 charge value. That's why they routed, while Zeke's archers didn't. So this unit definitely doing his job. Zeke the only thing Zeke has to watch is the stamina of this unit. You don't want to be running it around way too much that it gets completely exhausted, and then it's kind of useless. Then Zeke surrounding the army. He's got 2 light cav behind Greece's own light cav. They're exchanging missiles, just exchanging some fire. Mussolini bring a pike unit to support. This unit might come back. It still has 19 men, so it definitely should come back. But Zeke, what he wants to do is actually use one of these units to chase it. And it's too late because the unit already came back, so it's going to go back into fighting. Some chasing in the back. Mussolini's unit being chased by one of Zeke's light cav. And I think Zeke would have the advantage there because he has 6 upgrades against 5 from Mussolini's light cav. So anyway, we're still skirmishing on the left, and as you will see, the Slinger's doing some damage. Like I said, this unit on the right is down to half the man, down to 15, almost down to half its numbers. That's how effective Rodent Slingers are. Here comes a charge from Zeke. See if it pays off, and Mussolini not having them in skirmish mode and no support from the infantry, this cavalry is just going to die. There goes the first one. This is not going to last too long against Cappadocian, and there goes the other one. This one in the back is coming back, and there Mussolini managed to make this unit rout, and here we're just exchanging some attacks, and now Zeke completely harassing the missile line of Mussolini. There goes another archer unit chasing archers, chasing Cretans. And you actually want the Cretans to stay alive because of this scythe chariot. You want the long range to keep this one at bay, or make it pay and amok if it comes close enough. A lot of stuff going on here on the left, just basically charging and counter-charging with the Jav Cav. The HoS archers are almost dead. One of them is gone, down to 12. The other one is down to 9. The one with 12 is coming back. And the Cappadocians still making some pretty heavy damage. There goes another archer unit. They're tired, so Zeke needs to start watching the stamina of these Cappadocians, because if they get too tired, even pikes would be able to catch them probably. So you don't want to exhaust them, but you do want to get rid of these archers, and he's doing a pretty good job at it. And now the armies both lining up for the infantry fight, and Mussolini gets not the best of charges there, but still, I mean, he doesn't need a perfect charge because his hoplites are just that much superior than Zeke's bronze shields. But you don't want to get surrounded, and that's what Zeke was going for, but now Mussolini's going to come back and fend it off. And now the problem for Mussolini is that his archers are all exposed. He just basically just lost all his missile units. They're all gone. And if they still got 3 of them, but they're about to die. There goes one. The other one is going to die with the charge of this. And here come the scythe chariots. Mussolini not shooting at them on time, and they're actually going to be able to get a charge on Greece's main infantry line. The archers are coming back for Zeke, and he should set them on fire mode and start shooting at the backs of these units. He managed to rout one of the armored hoplites. The Spartans still fighting, but apparently they're falling. And the problem is that now this unit is dropping the morale of the rest of the Greek units. Here comes the hammer and anvil strike from the Cappadocian Cav. You don't want to let this unit linger too much in a melee fight, because I said they don't have armor-piercing attack. So you just basically hit and run. Mussolini coming back with some of the militia Cav, not being able to do as much damage as he would like to. and that unit's just gonna die. And the bronze shield's holding pretty well, actually. I think they'll eventually lose. They're eventually gonna lose to Grease units, but you know the time then Zeke is gaining with this is very valuable. He should start using. I'm not sure if he should use fire yet, because the general's still alive, and you know armored hoplites and Spartans are pretty damn tough. So you might not break them with fire arrows. So probably regular arrows are still fine until you get until you kill the general. That's when you could have a bigger impact on morale with fire arrows. So like I said, there goes the infantry for Pontus. There goes the general. So pretty much there goes everything from Pontus. Yep, there goes all the infantry. He still got 5 units of archers, some of them heavily depleted, one of them almost full. He still got the Cappadocian with almost nothing, 7 men, and the chariot archer with 12 men. For Moussolini, there's still some missile troops. We got 1 archer, 1 slinger, and 1 cretin. This cretin should be focused on killing as many archers as possible. And now this is where these battles get extremely long, because we're about to go into the end phase of the battle, and this is where it's all about chasing and firing. So as you can see, Moussolini setting his units in loose formation and bringing the cretins to try to do some damage. So let me tell you what's going to happen for the next a lot of minutes. So all that's going to happen is Zeke is going to be clearing up the map, just killing as many archer units as possible, not letting anything come back. At the same time, Moussolini is going to try to be pushing forward against these archers. He's going to try to either catch them, which is kind of unlikely, but I mean, he might. It will come down to stamina. His units are warmed up, one of them is tired. These archers are winded, tired, so they're about equal, so I don't think they'll be able to catch them, because these are heavy armored units, so they are slower than archers. These cretins will be pretty vital, because they'll be able to kill stuff. He's wasting arrows on these units that routed. Moussolini should definitely check on that. But it's just hard. It's just hard to manage all these things. But anyway, he should be moving forward any time and try to shoot as many archers as he possibly can. At this point, it's really going to come down to how many arrows are left. If you don't have enough arrows left, then I don't think you can take out all this infantry. Because I mean, they're in loose formation. They still got pretty good numbers, and unless you have a lot of missiles, you probably won't be able to do enough damage to kill these units. Some more chasing. So this is where we go to triple speed. They're just resting their units apparently, and if anything, that's not gonna favor Moussolini, because he's the one who has to chase, so he wants the other units to be tired. So apparently he's not gonna chase them. He's just gonna box up, and just to put it out there, this is completely legal. For those who think this is noob box, this is not a noob box. Okay, this is a tactical resource that you use at the end of the battles when there's pretty much nothing else you can do. A noob box is something that goes for the whole game, and you start with that formation and you keep it for the whole game, and kind of that would be a noob box. This is not a noob box. This is completely legal, and actually some matchups are based on this box. You know, some matchups are played so that you get to the point where you box in the end, and so it's completely legal. And of course the problem is that it has very little mobility. You're exposed to archer fire, and these archers are gonna die as soon as they get charged. I mean, they have nowhere to go. They get some cover from the hoplites, but eventually they're probably gonna fall. So at this point, everybody's just gonna rest their units. So we're just gonna fast forward that. Greece does have an advantage because its general is still alive, and that's a big plus for end games. because that's where the biggest morale drops come from. The units already have morale penalties from all the battle long, so at this point having general alive is a big plus for Greece. So right now all they're doing, if you're wondering why nobody's moving anything, is because they're resting their units. Greece units are already fresh, so he's good to go, but Pontus units are still not fresh. And you do want your units fresh because they fight the best. As your stamina goes down, the stats of your units also goes down. I mean, the effectiveness at which they fight goes down. So you don't want to do that. You want to always fight with units as fresh as possible. Those Cappadocians were exhausted, so that's going to take a little bit of time for them to get fresh again. And that's why this battle is so damn long. So let me tell you what's going to happen now. All that's going to happen is that Zeke is going to bring his archers to in range of the hoplites and the Spartans, and he's going to surround them. You don't want to kind of be shooting from one angle, because if you notice this box, they're formed in different angles, you know, just kind of facing every direction. So you don't want to be shooting at the front of them, because they're pretty much invulnerable from the front. You want to be shooting from all angles, all sides. That's where you see that Zeke is moving all his units around the box, so he has different angles, so he can shoot from the back and the sides of the units and probably do more damage there. At this point, I would say fire arrows would be more effective at this point that they were during the battle, because at this point the Greeks are getting a lot of morale penalties. The first one is that they're gonna get is that I think they're outnumbered, so that's one penalty. The other penalty they're gonna get is that they'll be surrounded, because eventually Zeke is gonna be closing in, and you're gonna see all of Pontus' units around this box. So you know, when you're surrounded, that's a penalty. Morale penalty for the units. On the bright side for Greece, they do have the general alive, and it's a Spartan general, so that's a pretty tough unit. So that's one advantage that he does have. Let's see what else. For Zeke, we have light cap, which is not gonna be able to do much. The Cappadocian down to 7 man. I think there was another unit there. I mean, it's tough. Unfortunately for replays, we cannot see how much ammunition is left on the units, so I mean that's unfortunate. But at this point, unless Pontus, which is Zeke, has enough missiles to kill most of this infantry force, I don't think there's any chance of winning. You know, if he had, I don't know, infantry, he'd probably pin them and try to make some hammer and anvil strikes, or attack from a different angle, but I mean there's nothing left. It's just archers and some cavalry. You know, this chariot archers die on contact to pikes. The Pontic light cav, I mean it's light cav, it's not gonna last. And the Cappadocian, which is the heavy cav, it only has 7 men left. So I don't think, I mean it's looking pretty rough for Zeke. So like I said, unless he's got plenty of, and I mean plenty of ammunition, this is just gonna be very, very tough for him. Plus, Moussolini still got Cretans. Those Cretans are probably out of missiles right now, because actually, now that I mention it, in one of the previous videos I said that elite archers, such as Cretans, had less ammunition, that's why they run out of it faster. Well, we checked that, actually, we went to the game files, and that is not true. As it turns out, Cretans have just as many ammunition as any other archer, which is 30. Each Cretan archer has 30 arrows. The reason why they run out so quickly is because they have a higher rate of fire. You know, they reload faster and they fire at a faster rate. That's why they run out of ammunition so quickly. So you know, it's not a bad idea to have your elite archers off fire at will mode, because that way you can actually control when you need them to fire at what you need to be fired. Because you know, if you just let them fire at anything that comes in range, they'll, before you notice, they're out of ammunition. So there we go. Actually, Zeke is doing what I told you. He's going for the fire arrows, because at this point you don't want to the only way you're going to win is with a mass rout. So you're not going for kills, you're going for morale. At this point of the battle, morale drops are more important than casualties. So that's where he's going for the fire arrows. He's still trying to kill some of these Cretans. He's managed to kill some of those. I think the chariot archers are the ones that are taking care of them. Down to 13 men. Plenty of them already dead. I don't think they're shooting anymore. Nope, they're out of ammunition. And now Moussolini just reforming his box. Trying to face... all he's doing right now is facing the archers. He's making sure his units are facing where the arrows are coming from, so he can minimize the damage. And now they're closing in. We're getting towards the end of this battle, and we're going to see a charge from Zeke. No, fake charge. He's probably going to take out these Cretans, but he just faked it. So like I said, they're just doing some repositioning, and there he actually managed to take them. I triple X that, sorry about that. But I mean, all it was the Cappadocians charging on these Cretans, and he managed to rout them. And he didn't lose any Cappadocian. That's pretty good for Zeke. So it's all down to the pikes. Let me just check on the archers. These ones are out of ammunition. Still shooting. Still shooting. Out of ammo. And they're shooting. So we got 3 archers still firing, and the chariot archers. The others are out of ammunition. So, and let me look at the box. I don't think he's done enough damage. There's still a lot of hoplites. I don't know. I mean, I haven't seen this replay before, but I don't think Pontus can pull this off. Just too many hoplites. Just too many of them. So anyways, while we wait, let me give you a quick announcement. We're opening a new page for Total War Clan Community Center, the TWCC, and it's up already, the YouTube channel, and we'll be having some of the best and most famous from Total War and Shogun 2 commentators on that channel. We're going to have commentary battles, live commentary battles. We're going to have interviews, game discussions, a lot of stuff, tournament games, live replays. I mean live games, commentator replays. So we're going to have a lot of stuff there. I'm going to leave the link for that in the description as well. You'll enjoy that channel, trust me. We're just gonna make it try to make it the biggest Total War channel on YouTube. It's gonna take a lot of work, but we'll get there eventually. So, coming to the last part of the battle. Closing in, I think the archers are out of ammunition. They are. So the last arrow has been shot, and so Zeke is just gonna close in and prepare for the charge. He's going to try to get the best angles. What you want to do when you're facing this box, it's try to charge through this corner. You see this corner where there's like no spear pointing at you? That's where you want to start your charge from. You don't want to kind of charge them head on. So you always want to go for the corners. And it's pretty much a game of you lining up with this corners and him reshuffling. There you see it. You see? So here comes a charge. Here comes the archers. Those Cappadocians, like I said, you don't want to leave them lingering around too long. You don't want them to be fighting on melee because they suck at it. They don't have armor piercing ability. You do want to be doing hit and run. Just strike and leave. And there go the archers, there go the Pontic light cav, and yeah, there's just no way. Just no way you could penetrate this box with what was left for Pontus. So that's going to be it. Zeke admits defeat. Very, very long battle. I know it got boring at times, but thank you for hanging in there. Hopefully the next battles will be shorter and we'll see more action. So, like I said, a lot of attention for this match. Moussolini takes #1, and we're going to switch factions for the next match. Hopefully it won't be as long as this. So thanks for watching, follow the link to the next video.